But Naka here playing the white pieces against international master from France. Good luck, everybody. And we're off. Naka won his first round game, but now this is his second first round game. Didn't think I would actually say that very often on the broadcast. Bishop takes, yeah, and this is the standard plan. This is why I almost never like this move a6, because White's plan of bishop b5, especially when he plays knight e2. Do you think he's going to keep that bishop and bring it back or something? I mean, his plan is to take on c6 no matter what. And if that's his plan, then the move a6 only seems to provoke it. Only seems to provoke it. We could actually see him, I was just going to say, take that. And if queen takes, no, he's not going to take this pawn. I imagine he's going to play knight c3, d5, and I think he's going to play positionally here. Going to go for a move like c4 next and rook c1. I was going to say he might consider the move d3, but I think c4 makes a little more sense. That if he does take, then the e-pawn gets very weak. If he pushes, same story. Naka's dealing with the h-pawn advance by playing h3 so that black doesn't play h5, h4, h3. And then after white plays g3, the structure does look a little weak there. d3. I like that one from Naka. He is opening the position completely because despite his opponent having the two bishops, I mean, we also have to look at the fact that the king is still sitting right in the center of the board. After takes on d4, we might see queen g6. And there would follow rook f2. Instead, rook d8. And if knight takes pawn, of course, bishop takes because of the pin. So what is the plan here if bishop f5? He's going to play d5, it looks like. Then comes d5. d5, queen, d4 check. Just king h2, it looks like. Yeah, d5, queen d4, king h2 looks okay for Nakamura. And as it stands, it's very hard for black to prove something in this position because white's going to play queen f3, maybe rook d1. Probably rook d1 here. And if he needs to, he can always play king h1 or king h2. Okay, knight takes d5. That's like an instant move, right? What's black planning? Whoa. What on earth? What am I missing? What am I missing here? I definitely disagree with that. I definitely disagree with that one. I don't feel like that was worth the exchange that black just gave up. These guys are playing really fast, by the way. This game might even finish well before... yeah, this game might actually finish before these guys even go under 2 minutes or something. Interesting. Knight d7. I think this is just cleanup duty for Naka. He's not going to mess this one up. We're going to see the king hide on h2. King h2, yeah. And he's got, what, 2 extra pawns and the exchange. I'm definitely not worried about this one for white here. Okay. At this point, probably just running the c-pawn is the easiest. He's looking at this pawn, although I'm not sure taking it is the best idea because of bishop c3. I think he's covering this square so that he can play f5. I'm pretty sure that's what he's up to. But does he have to take that now? I'm not sure that he did that properly. I think the easiest way was to just push the c-pawn. So he's making a little bit of a meal of it, but of course he's still completely winning here. Now he's going to push the c-pawn. I think he's got the idea. If he can trade the queens with queen e5 check, that's going to be very crushing. He's going to play there, and then I wonder, is he going to play rook d2 after that, or rook e7? Rook e7 looks probably just game over because queen f6. Queen f6, there's queen d5, so maybe queen c4. Maybe queen c4 is the one. Yeah, I think in this position, if king to g8, maybe queen f6. No, queen f6, queen d5. I like king g8 and then queen to c4. And that's why his opponents played this one, because I think that queen c4 was just too strong. So now king g8. Okay, well, I think he's just mated now. Rook takes f7, king there, and whoops, queen h8. Yeah, queen h8, not queen takes h4. So Naka repeats his round 1 performance, and he still comes away with the win. Let's take a look at some of these other games. Who is playing here? Daniel Naroditsky playing white. Okay, this game looks like it's going at a much more acceptable pace. Those guys on board 1 really blew through it, but now we see Naka's former opponent here from round 1 playing the black pieces. And you definitely have to prefer Daniel Naroditsky's position here with something like, you know, the knight coming in, queen d5, or the option of giving up the bishop and going for a better endgame. But I'm not even sure that in this position black is... well, I was going to say, I don't think he's going to do that. I thought he would take maybe with the bishop, try to play a position where the bishop actually gets a good diagonal. But the bishop on g7 here is not looking too good. Not looking too good. It's a small advantage, but in Blitz, not only does having the knight matter quite a lot, but in this position, the e5 pawn is just one of those permanent targets. All right. 16 seconds for black, though. Just a massive time disadvantage. Let's take a look at Gadar Guseynov, because the guy is looking to do better in the first round, and I think he's going to be happier with this one. But hang on a sec. Rook h4? Did you just miscalculate? Guys, did he just miscalculate? His opponent has 20 seconds. I tune in, and he's taking this position, and he's sacking it away into a losing position. What on earth is Guseynov doing? Is he going to lose the first round in a row? Rook f7. Whoa, rook f7. Rook f7, just trade the rooks. What am I looking at? Guys, I think he's gonna lose. Rook h3, the chess kid. I just take and play king d7, and my rook goes to h8. Rook h4, rook h3. I just take and play king d7, and black just wins in every line now. Okay, so here Black has kind of messed this one up. I think he gave away too many pawns, but okay, well, rook b6. No, this is he really messed this one up, guys. Please don't take on g6. Please play for the win. Good, good. Rook d2 check, and then bishop d6, guys. I'm not sure what you guys are talking about. I got the chat trolling me. All right, but he's gonna try rook and bishop against. He's gonna try rook and bishop against the rook. You know, we have to let him try. But he really messed this one up. Okay, bishop d4. He's got this. Still very tricky. I mean, he could totally win this game, and it might not matter. But rook a6, rook g2. He's making some real pressure here. King e2. But what is he going to do next? Rook g3. Conniving. Rook and bishop against rook. When have we seen... Actually, we've just never seen a Title Tuesday without this endgame. I don't think we've ever seen it. A Title Tuesday without rook and bishop against rook. Now here he's still got a pawn, so black actually has a lot of moves that he can make before taking that pawn. If I was white, I would probably consider throwing that pawn away with g7, just to make sure I'm counting the exact 50 moves, because your opponent can really play on forever and ever in this position here. And he will. Whoa! What? What? Guys! What on earth? Ugh, I'm just gonna head shake to that one. I don't agree. That's not what you do. Oh my goodness. You got to make Gusainov work for that. There are so many. Oh my goodness. Well, I had a lot of people asking me in chat, so I feel like I have to look at it again to make sure I wasn't missing something. But rook h3, rook takes, king d7, rook d2 check, bishop d6, and black plays rook h8. So I think black's just winning there, which is why Gusainov did not play it. But also black, from this position, I mean, rook f7 just completely wins on the spot. So many wins were missed there. And in the end, he just gives away the rook for, well, I mean, he trades away the rook into a draw. So that's too bad. Karina Chess, I wonder if that's Karina Chapovska-Horovska, or I guess she's just Karina Chapovska right now. But playing a good friend of mine, Vladimir Hamatovici from Moldova, and I believe he's got the conversion here. And this is going to be a small test. We're going to make sure he knows queen against rook, but let's hope he knows some technique here. I think that this is so easy to do when you're playing against a human, because when you practice against a computer, the computer knows exactly when to throw the rook like away from the king, but I don't think that a human really has any idea when that should happen. And often you end up just losing the rook. So give a check and then play king up. King up, yeah. And now if you put the rook down here, there will be a check to win the rook. So slowly but surely, he is pushing the king towards the corner. And now we're just going to see this final, it's almost, I guess, a theoretical position in this case about the triangulation. Yes, bring the king over. And now the rook has to go away. And it's up to black here to find the appropriate checks in order to pick off the rook. And we're going to see check, 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 and then check on a7 is the ultimate goal. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be able to put this away. Well, there's also a check here if king h8, so there, and now queen check, and then you're going to get this check or this check. Either one. And that's the rook. Easy. There you go, guys. But I think the issue people have is not when the king gets into the corner. Most people can do the queen against rook against that. But I think the issue people have is when white cuts the king off by putting the rook on the third rank. That's the difficult one. But good technique shown there by Hamatovici. Okay, guys, let's tune into a huge battle in round 2. Finns 0905. That is a good friend and very well-known personality around these parts. John Bartholomew against Hikaru Nakamura. Let's go, guys. This is a huge matchup. Let's see. John is playing with the white pieces. Seems like there's a lot of Finn supporters in the chat. Definitely, the guy has a lot of fans, and let's see. He's playing Naka. This is the big game. I played Naka a few times in Title Tuesday. It's always nice to get a top game like this, get paired way up to the top of the tournament. Because, I mean, are you really here for anything else than to get a nice game against Naka? This is what we're here for. Is he gonna take that, I wonder? Or is he gonna go for the comp? E4, John? Yes, E4. There we go. So this is the typical type of position where black is up a pawn. But white gets the d6 square, gets a lot of compensation, and black has some trouble developing these pieces to good squares on the queen side. So we'll probably see that knight I was going to say go to e6, but I guess he wants to dislodge this knight from the d6 square, and he's also stopping knight c3 for the moment. Knight back to f5. How does the time work? I guess for those who aren't that experienced with this type of tournament format, it's 3+2, so you get 2 seconds after every move. That's why you might be seeing the time go up or something like that. All right, a4, knight c7, and I mean, guys, we have to be a little bit optimistic here with what John is doing. I mean, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. He's won the pawn back, and it looks like Naka is trying to sack that pawn for the initiative, and most importantly, I think he's going to be really thrilled to trade queens there. However, knight e7 check, followed by f4 is an idea, although at the moment, knight e7, king g7 maybe. Yeah, you risk actually getting that knight trapped. I'm not sure how you get it out. I was thinking maybe knight e7, king g7, f4, bishop f6, knight takes c6 followed by e5, but that's kind of suspicious. There's no way that one's gonna work. Bishop f6, yeah. So knight d6 has to be the move. Sorry, e5 could very well be played here, but I think that either e5 or knight d6, both of them are very good moves. But I know that Naka is going to go for this and try to play on the light squares here. Technically, I think this is a very good position for John, but the execution is not so easy that, you know, if you bring a bishop here, he's going to put the knight on e4 and always tempt you into giving up that bishop. So Naka is holding a tough position here. And you don't always see the pawns looking like that on the f-file. You don't. Hikaru's definitely in a worse position here, but honestly, Naka is almost scarier when he's in a losing position, or a worse position, I should say. Somehow he puts up some resistance, but guys, John is on fire or something right now, right? Because isn't he threatening something like rook d6? Attacking the knight in here, and I guess Naka's planning to play knight e4. So what happens on bishop takes rook d6? What's he planning? He's going to sack something for some type of compensation, but definitely Naka is not happy here. Oh, is he going to play there? And then bishop e2, and he's going to take on a1, and okay, good. He's given that up. I think that playing bishop e2, taking on a1 was a bit dangerous because of the fact that black can just bring a rook and come down there. Now, I think this might start to flip, unfortunately, because you're going to see the rook come, maybe threatening rook takes c3. You're going to see this rook come down to d2. Guys, I like John's play. I love John's play so far, but it just looks like the type of position that Naka always turns around right here. We're going to see rook c2. Yeah, threatening rook d1 checkmate. I don't even see a good way to get out of that. Knight f2, maybe the only move. One of the only moves. Knight f2. But then even just rook d2. Okay, that's creative. I like it. I like it from John. Rook to d5. He can't play rook there because of check. He can take it, but his idea is to give the check and take. John is squirming here. Let's see if he can hold on to this position. He's down more than a minute. He played extremely well in the start, but Naka, as I was saying, an extremely dangerous player, very resourceful, almost scarier when he's in a worse position. Okay, so we're going to see this, takes there, knight d4. Good move by John. Looks like he found the accurate move. Rook to d5. John with 44 seconds here. And Naka, I really like this by Nakamura, fixing the pawns, giving the f5 square for the knight. I don't think you can get knight e3 because of knight takes g3 with check. So John is actually, I would say, seriously in some trouble here, because now I think black is actually just winning the way that these pawns have gotten fixed like that on the light squares, or excuse me, on the dark squares, giving away the light squares. So it's a type of position that, for example, after knight here, I think maybe, yes, f6, take away the e5 square, and he's thinking about trapping his knight in some lines. Is he thinking about trapping his knight in some lines? Rook a2, if you take, there's always the intermezzo, knight takes g3 before you take on a4. He's going to go for that. You don't actually have to... okay, he's going to take this, he's going to take there, and he's going to take h4. And we're going to have 2 pawns for Nakamura. I'm not actually sure the technical evaluation of this position, but I know that if these knights were off the board, actually the evaluation would be a draw. The evaluation would be a draw there. So he might be hoping for something like that, but it looks like Naka has got the better here. And the fact that the knights are on the board makes a huge, huge difference. And even though you get the check, Naka's just going to walk the king up, play rook g2, and that time for John is really running low. He wants him to play there. He's got rook f4. Naka's just setting traps everywhere. Check. Doesn't go back. Knight f4 might be coming soon. I think he can probably get away with playing h2, but it's a very committal move. He wants to make John think a little more. It's only +2 on the increment, so a very risky position to be in. Rook d3. Has to be knight e3. King g6. He's converting this the slow way. I thought there might have been like an immediate crush there, but Naka is doing it nice and slow. If rook g1, there's rook d4 check. Yeah, and king there loses, and king there loses to f4. Yeah, I don't see any way out of that. f4 check, and I'm looking for a cute stalemate, but I don't see it. I don't see it. Rook d2 is just extra precise, not even giving up the pawn. Very, very nice game by Nakamura, I have to say, because I think we were all feeling like Finns might be able to turn the tides there early on in that game. And rightfully so. I think Naka was feeling the pressure from the pawn sacrifice in the opening from John, but unfortunately, or fortunately, depending who you're a fan of, but definitely unfortunately for John, the higher rated player persevered in this round, and that was only one of the first early games to finish. Let's take a look at board 2 here. Georg Meyer losing to Yuri Solo. Pretty low rated GM, 2459, and I'm able to say that because he's lower rated than me. And yeah, if you're lower rated than me, that can't be acceptable. That cannot be acceptable. f5, yep. 3 seconds for black. You almost feel like you'd rather be playing white in this position. It's not even an almost feel. I think white is just better. You take here, you play h5, you have rook f7 takes f6. Yep. White is just better here. Ooh, I would have taken. Yeah, I would have taken, and then you threaten bishop h7 check and checkmate. Oh, he's getting mated now. Check and checkmate. Boom, Gorgmeyer comes from behind a little bit there. I feel like we kind of joined in an awkward moment. It was actually right here. And it definitely looked like black had the upper hand. I think maybe an important move was perhaps black playing rook b3 and stopping the king from running like that. I don't like rook d2. I mean, you're just chasing the king up the board. I think that's actually a very poor move, rook d2. But rook b3, cutting the king off, maybe is that slightly better? Because then at least you force the king to go around this way. And perhaps you have have some other ideas of attacking the g-pawn in that case. Definitely feel like if you let the king go up in blitz, you're probably on the way to losing, unless in this position you immediately play b6 and say, okay, I'm going to run my a-pawn. But you had to make that decision right away. Instead, these felt like some lazy moves, and now white is just better. Moving near the end of the round, there's a lot of WIMs, WGMs still playing. WGM Kukas. That's an interesting name. From Hungary, I'm guessing. That's the Hungarian flag. Yep. Is trying to claim the top female spot because there is an all expenses paid trip to Isle of Man for the top female and the top male participant from this tournament. So I think that's why we see all these WIM, WGMs. There's actually so many of them, a lot more than I could name playing in this tournament. They all want that top female prize going to the Isle of Man, played later this year. And will we see... excuse me, this was a draw? Hang on a sec. A draw? Wait, what's going on here? Was this going on for 50 moves? Okay, so this is queen against rook. The last pawn move is right here. This is move 62. The game ends on move 85. The game ends on move 85. Now I'm not a math major, but 62 to 85 is not 50 moves. So Igor Kovalenko here is losing, and they agree to a draw. This isn't 3 times, is it? Oh my goodness. Okay, so this position, 2, 3. Oh my goodness. Oh, guys. Oh, man. Oh, that's a 3-time repetition. That's so embarrassing. Oh, that's bad. That's bad. Okay, well, we're on to round 3, guys. I can't keep looking at that. Let's get a new game on the screen here. Oh, that is really too bad for white there. That's pretty much, that would be a shoe-in for the top ladies prize. If you take out Igor Kovalenko with the white pieces. Oh man, that's too bad. That's a pretty tough threefold. I actually had a threefold repetition in one of my tournaments recently in Charlotte against Michael Brown. Username on Chess.com, Michael Q2D5. And I actually had it 2 times, and then he didn't know what to do, so he made the 3rd repetition, and it didn't occur to me that it was the 3rd repetition. And you guys know when you're in a slightly worse position, when you see a repetition, you just you immediately make your response. You copy the move that you just played, and you're like, hey, show me the win. But I actually copied so quickly that I realized now that I copied my move and I played my next move, I can't claim the draw anymore. So I had a 3-time repetition from a dead loss position, and I did not claim it because I moved too quickly. So I've had that happen, at least in my tournament recently, which was very, very frustrating and probably ruined my chance at a GM norm in that tournament. Very, very poor stuff from me. But anyways, Nakamura back with the white pieces here. We're in round 3. What's going on here? I'm assuming it started with b3. There we go. Naka's trademark. He just wants to get a position. He's just here to play chess. Look, he's just here to play chess, guys. You guys cannot tell me. You cannot tell me that these moves are so out of, you know, your league that you can't replicate them. Come on, this is just Nakamura. He's just here to play chess. I could do this. I mean, I could do these moves, but for some reason, people are playing differently when they play Naka. Yes, he's going to give the check. He's going to come back to e4. He's just playing simple chess. He's doubling the rooks. Nothing special. That's what I love to see, the simplicity of it all. Okay, double rooks, yep. I think if he makes an escape square, it's probably going to be g3 this time. I think that's going to be my new game. Guess Hikaru's escape square. Last time I was commenting on Hikaru's position, I said that he was playing h3. He played g3 the moment after I said that. So this time I'm going with g3. That's the Hikaru escape square for this game. It's going to be g3. It's got to be g3. Don't make me look bad, Naka. I'm looking for a g3 here. He can't take this, so I'm actually not sure what this knight d3 move is all about. What's he up to with that? Is he going like this? I was wondering, is he going to the b5 square? I think he is going there, slowly but surely. Yep, he wants to put the knight on b5, guys. That's confirmed. I wonder what his escape square is going to be. Oh, please get a g3 in there. He might play h3, to be honest, guys. I'm worried. He's going to show me up again. From Poland, playing black. Strong international master there. Sitting on 2 out of 2. Getting paired up against Naka. What's he going to do in this position? I mean, g4 is quite tempting. But I'm guessing he doesn't want to you know, overextend. But g4 followed by h5, he's thinking about how is he going to deal with knight c3 and knight b5. I think that you could always deal with that in the worst case by just putting a bishop on e5. But he's decided to allow rook takes d6 and then play bishop e5. That was his idea. Naka doesn't even blink at it. Does not even blink at it. And what are we going to see here? If knight b5, he's declared that he wants to take that with the bishop. g4. Okay, do I get part marks for that? That's like, I mean, I showed my work. A nice teacher would give me part marks for that. He would give me part marks for that. It's not g3, but it's g4. I mean, I didn't get the move right, but I did get the escape square right, which was the g2 square. But I definitely can't take full credit for that. I did not see that one coming. Naka striking with g4 out of nowhere. Yikes. What a move. Looking at that knight, I mean, he wants to play this, but I think he's considering knight e4 to put more pressure on that pawn. Knight d5, then there comes bishop to g6. It's got to be bishop g6. I think Naka is not out of the water yet. As soon as he takes this pawn, it all starts to come crashing down, but for black. But for the moment, I don't think this is quite over. There's ideas like bishop takes h2. I like this move g4, but what happens on knight takes d6? That's the question. Knight d6, bishop g6? No, there's always knight f7. Queen f6. Okay, he's looking at that. If bishop takes, Naka's got to be careful. Guys, this is the kind of position that, I mean, Naka's got like 2 minutes. His opponent has 20 seconds, but I would still probably not know what to do with white here. Does he play queen f5? Can he play that move? I got one right. Yes, I got one right because I think at the end, white has a rook d8 check. So he's going to go for this. Okay, if takes, then queen h4, but what has this guy seen that Naka hasn't? If e4, he's got 10 seconds, that's the problem. He's probably got to finish there somewhere. Queen h4, it's got to be knight f7. Yeah. And if he takes that, there's check, And is there a checkmate? There's at least a draw. Queen h3 is huge. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. Naka wants to play for a win. But, oh, it's so annoying. Bishop f4. Naka really wants to play for this win. Knight d8. He's fighting for it. He's fighting for it. Just take there. Knight e6. Oh my goodness. Naka is so resourceful. Look at this. Look at him go. Oh man, if Naka wins this, guys, that's so impressive. So impressive. I don't know how he's finding winning chances here. Black's attack looked almost crushing. Okay, it doesn't look like he's going to win. In fact, it looks like he is almost losing. c5, bishop c4. What's he going to do? What's he going to do after bishop c4? c6, king d6, right? So bishop a4. We're going to see bishop c3. Remember, guys, black has the passed h-pawn. This is very, very serious for the endgame. 2 passed pawns. I would be very surprised if he wasn't winning here. Naka's got to take that bishop, right? I think he has to. Ooh. Takes, knight c6. Knight c6? Oh, don't take it. Don't take it. Oh, no. He's letting Naka escape with the draw. He's just going to sack the bishop for the a-pawn. And he's going to leave his king on h1. Oh, guys, he let Naka off the hook there. If Naka was playing black, I guarantee you he would have won that game. Guarantee it. Yeah, they may as well just agree to a draw. Anyway, I'm going to leave that game. That one's going for a draw. Still a good result for black. Very well played. I mean, he navigated some serious tactics against a serious player. But I'm disappointed. People are letting those top GMs off the hook. They really are. They really are letting them off the hook. Meanwhile, in this position, pretty sure Gorgmeyer is going to put him away with takes and takes. Yeah, this is over. Gorgmeyer is going to move to 3 out of 3. Let's take a look at Daniel Naroditsky. And I think we can pretty much leave that one at that. I think this one is also going for a draw. Who else do we have? Let's take a look at... Karanki. There we go. One of the strongest, or at least highest rated non-GMs, and whoa, what a position we tuned into. I'm happy I clicked on that one. 7 seconds left for white. Black to play. Can he find the checkmate? That's the question. What an absolutely bizarre position. There's kings on each other's sides of the board. There is white pretty much mated here. And king... Is he going to play king h5? King h5 was interesting there. Or excuse me, that's a a4. King a4. That's just going to lead to mate after rook takes. But what about... this one you just play rook a3. That's the case. Yep, that's just a forced mate then. That is just a forced mate. Not many games left. Let's take a look at Mr. Shrek David. Oh, this is good. This is a good question. I was gonna say, is white winning or not? But the problem is we tuned in right when he had done probably all the hard work. If we go back in the end game, we'll see he actually had to put some work in here. It looks like black has a pretty easy draw, but his king is boxed in over there. And I like what white's doing there. He got king f5, and this time he got king to f6, king f7, And now he's just unstoppable. Rook h3 checkmate. That's very nice. Very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, guys, round 4 has begun. There's 10 rounds on this Title Tuesday. And let's take a look, because Naka did give up a draw, so he's fallen out of the top board just for the moment. Let's take a look at Chess.com's own Robert Hess playing black against Georg Meyer. This is going to be a long positional struggle, I feel. It's 3+2 for anybody wondering the time control. 2 seconds every move. In 10 rounds. Well, today you got 11 rounds. Plus, you had to put up with me for about 20 or 30 minutes just talking nonstop. But the tournament is 10 rounds. We'll see Queen D3 here, I think. Queen B3 as well, but I think we'll see the Queen put on D3. And then he might think about E4. No, he's going to B3. There's no tricks on B7, so it's not like he has the idea to play A5 and do something there. But I think that in the long term, okay, he might bring the rook to D1 first, but he wants to play knight E5. For example, now, what about the move knight E5? I was looking at knight E5 there. Knight takes C3. Knight takes c6 looked at least interesting. At least interesting, but probably not good because of knight e2 and knight d4 at the end, yeah. Probably not good. Always nice to take b takes c3, get that pawn to c4. If you can get the pawn to e4, white has a big, big center coming here. What happens if c4? Is he going to take? I feel like he's trying to provoke c4 and then bishop takes on f3, but I'm not sure that that's, I'm not sure that's what black wants to do. I think white's happy to advance that pawn. Maybe just put a rook on d1. e3 is also a very good move, but we just need to protect this pawn on d4 for the moment and then get ready to boot this bishop out. Queen e3 also comes to mind. Queen e3 hits the bishop and threatens to take on f6 and then grab the bishop. And if the bishop goes back to g6, then we get knight e5 with a devastating effect. h6. Will he take? I'm not sure. I think that you do want to actually keep that bishop. Yeah. Yeah, you do want to keep that bishop. Let's take a look at some of the other games. We got, ooh, this is a good one. This is a good one. I'm glad I clicked on this. We got Akshat Chandra, new American GM as of late, and playing against Penguin GM1, Andrew Tang. And the kids are busting out some, dare I say, boring opening theory. And getting a pretty dull-looking Italian where, now that they're on their own, I think this might actually spice up a little bit. Maybe something like rook e8 or queen f7 to start. White's probably a little bit better, but black has, for the moment, the active play. I think he has the ability to play a5 and lock that b2 as a target, also f2 as a target. Yeah, Chandra is 2470 in Blitz. Sorry, 2740. 2470 would not be impressive. That would be a Hamilton rating. 2740 is ridiculous Blitz rating. That's incredibly, incredibly high. Mist Fink, my beard needs some work, you say. Well, then I will have to go to work on that. I can't be lacking in any department. I need to be the full package commentator. He wants to play queen e2, just bring the rook over. White's got a very good position here. He's really doing some damage to Andrew Tang here. Let's check some of the other games. What is that?
CBRAH, CBC Brow, Bicep, CB Rahman, CB Bicep, CBRAH, CB.
What? What? Welcome to the Chess Bros. What on earth was that? I'm pretty sure I'm on the Chess.com channel right now. I'm pretty sure, guys. I'm just going to have to confirm that, but I'm pretty sure we're live on Chess.com right now. So, I'm not sure why anyone is being welcomed to the Chess Bros. Let's get a game on the screen so you guys have something to pass the time with. But what on earth was that? Oh man, if more people start subscribing to Chess Bros right now, you're all in big trouble. You're all in big trouble. This is the only time I'm not asking for subscribers. I'll never ask for this again. Never. This is the only time. I got Bill Clapp trolling me. Bill Clapp. Oh man, what a monster. He's messing with me right now. Okay, but on the other hand, if I get a lot of subs just to troll me, then I'll take that. I'll be the sucker. So knight f6. I mean, this looks like some serious work has been done to this position. Some serious work by Georg Meyer. Black looks like he's taken the last 10 moves and played them very passively. Queen c8, yeah.
Trolling Chess.com tournament.
Oh no. Oh no. What is this? Guys, I asked you nicely. Don't sub to Chess Brawl right now. The only time I'll ever say that. The only time. Alright, let's catch up to the current position. e4, queen e8. I mean, he doesn't want to play c6. Is that his thing? Because c6 looks like a cool move. If you play b6, then we might see knight d7 or something like that. We might see knight d7, but I'm not sure that that's what he wanted to do. He's played a5. This queen is just running around in the enemy position here. Rook on d3. Oh no. Oh no. What is this? You guys are awful.
And just
You guys are awful. You guys are awful.
turn off.
You guys are terrible. Hello to whoever did that, but that's just awful. You guys are mean. You guys are mean, taking advantage of me in my time of plight. Yes, I turned the sound off. Just for a brief moment as we witness Georg Meyer putting the squeeze on, while I'm also putting a different type of squeeze on here.
You're fine.
All right. As I said, guys, do not subscribe to Chess Bro. And this is not a marketing ploy. I promise you that. If it was a marketing ploy, I think I might be an actual genius. I'm going to have to do some tech work on this and consider implementing this in all future Chess.com streams to get donations and subs on the Chess Bro channel. But for now, it seems like it's working against me. But we'll call it a marketing ploy and leave it at that, guys. Georg Meyer is still working it here. He's still working it. He's given up the a pawn, but it's because, well, I thought it's because he had some checks, but no, it's because he's taking on f7. Queen h1. If king there, there's no bishop c7, so we can play king there, but then queen g1. Ooh, I think he missed that. He's lucky he's not losing on the spot. Queen f3, queen e4, king d7. I think it's actually white who's going to win this. Bishop b6. He wants that. So are we going to see a ring around the rosy with the queen? Are we going to see a ring around the rosy? This is my favorite. No, he's going to play king d5, right? Oh, we do see it. Guys, great. Ring around the rosy. This is one of my favorite things in chess. Fantastic. Ah, that's nice. That's a good way to end it. That's a good way to end it. I like that. I like that. I think we missed the end of, and I'll update you guys on the standings, but I'm waiting for the tournament to get really defined. But we actually had Chandra lose that game to Andrew Tang as an update. And we'll bring up one of the remaining games here. Let's take a look at, how about this one? Fidel Corrales here. I believe he studies at Webster in St. Louis. Oh, that's a free rook. That's a free rook. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see the resignation here. Yep. So he's resigned that. Bit of an upset there, but we're getting more into the tournament that we are absolutely going to see updates and not updates, upsets. Upsets happening all the time. We've already seen a few top players give up some draws, and as we come to the end of round 4, moving into round 5, which will be halfway through the tournament, this is one of the last games still going. It almost feels like black has the winning chances here, but I think he has the draw with what, queen d5 and checking on these squares. King up, then check. That would win for black, but he's going to give the check on, okay, on this square or on that square, and then I think we will actually just get our draw here. But you always get some interesting endgames in Title Tuesday, that's for sure. I was gonna say we have to make sure we don't lose as white. He's he got carried away with the checks, and now I think he's dead lost. There's no checks. Look at that. The knight just dominates the queen. The knight covers everything. Queen a5 check. That's it. Oh my gosh, that was bad. Did white think he could win that or something? What did he do differently? Ah, it's black. I think he didn't play queen f7 check because of knight e7. But I'm wondering what happened here, because I mean he just blew the entire game like that. That was the end of round 4, by the way, and we can bring up Andrew Tang's game 1 on the screen now. He's got a perfect 4 out of 4, so he is actually leading the tournament. And he's joined by, who is this? Candidate Master C. Stefan. Christian Stefan from Romania. A Candidate Master. What on earth? He's got 4 out of 4. He must be having the tournament of his life. We got to check on his game as well. So let's see, actually. Who is that guy playing? He's playing Karanki. And he's in a pretty theoretical position right now, but I have no idea what this guy has done this event to make to make a result like this. 4 out of 4. He's it sounds like he might be a little kid or something. Always find some sort of talent in these tournaments. I'll say that. Some guy coming out of the woodwork, making a name for himself. There's a special prize for those just joining us. So if you haven't heard me yap about this yet, then you can now, that the top male and top female do get their expenses paid to Isle of Man, which is Chess.com's big tournament this year, coming up later in September. So I think that this tournament is going to be very exciting. I'm going myself. I know that Nakamura is playing. There's going to be a lot of people participating in that tournament, but it's nice that along with normal Title Tuesday prizes, you can also win some tournament prizes. And I don't think that you have that in many online tournaments at the moment, where you can actually win a ticket or a spot in a tournament that you might just participate in anyway. So I think that's pretty cool. But top male and top female, so they definitely know how to get the ladies out. We got a lot of women participating in this tournament. Let's take a look at another game. Just checking in here with the candidate master, who's having a great tournament. I'm not sure who he's beaten, but let's take a look at Nakamura again. He's battling back. He gave up a draw. He's actually playing Sergio Chess 83, and those who don't know, this is Sergei Grigorians. Guys, Sergei Grigorians is the guy that he played and beat very convincingly, I should say, in the first round of the Speed Chess Championship. Sergio Chess did win that tournament, the qualifier. So Naka and him have a bit of a history, but it was all Nakamura in that match. So you have to feel that he has the upper hand here, at least psychologically, of course, on the board as well. But check out the time. I mean, Naka has 2 minutes and 40 seconds. That's pretty crazy. That is pretty crazy. All right. We have this weird rook that's going to come back to a8, I think, immediately. There it is. Bring the rook to the middle. And you have to prefer white here. He's got a slight space advantage. These knights, not clear exactly what they're doing. For those wondering, king h2 wouldn't actually be the most accurate move here because of a move like knight g4. And there's a queen h4 coming in, taking on g3. So king h2, knight there, followed by queen h4 is an idea. But after king h2, knight there, maybe white can just go back to g1 and black has to return with the knight as well. So it's not like knight g4 wins, but I do think that king h2 is probably not the right move. But what is black up to here? If queen e7, we're probably going to see a move like knight to f5. I think he doesn't know what to do with the lack of space. We might see that bishop swing to b3, where it's on an extremely good diagonal there. e5 might be a threat now. Bishop c6 played. Are we going to see the knight jump into f5? That looks like a good move. Knight f5, even just bring the knight back to d4, see what your opponent's going to do. This is the move I wanted to do before. I want that bishop on that diagonal. And now maybe the knight goes back to d4. Or you could play e5. But e5 looks extremely suspicious. I wouldn't necessarily count on it. No, probably knight back to d4, I would say. Knight f5, then queen f8 is also very tempting here, but then you have to do something about your e-pawn at the end of that variation. You could play knight f5, queen f8, bishop d5, but he doesn't want to trade this bishop. This bishop is very, very powerful. And what has he seen? He's playing fast. He's seen something. That pawn is hanging. That pawn on e4 is hanging. He's going to have to play knight back unless he's got a better move. I don't like e5, and he does go knight back. I don't see any other way to defend that than knight to d2, and I don't think that that's the correct move there. Somehow I like what black has done here. The bishop has come to c6. The rooks have come to the center. The queen got out of the way. I think black is doing the right things, but at the end of the day, he doesn't have the space to really take advantage of things here, and wow. Knight takes e4 played, d5. I think Naka might have missed that unless he's got some counterplay. Yes, yes, of course. Of course, because if you take, you have to be careful of the massive pins there. One thing that I find about Nakamura is right when you think that you've hit him with a tactic that he didn't see, maybe for the first time or something. By the way, this is a clever move. If the knight moves, he wants knight f3 check, hitting the queen, and if the queen takes the knight, that gives up the rook on e1. So he's trying to be very tricky here. But right when you think you've got Naka on the edge, especially in the John Bartholomew game you probably saw, right when you think you've got him, no, you don't. The guy's so resourceful, so sneaky. So sneaky. I think here, Sergio Chess 83 probably thought that knight takes e4 and d5 was the end of the calculation. Naka barely even thinks and comes up with f5 and goes for all this stuff. Now, it might work, but the way that Naka's instincts work, or function, I should say, is that he almost never feels like he's losing until it's absolutely clear. If it's a bit murky, he almost always plays with confidence, and that can throw a lot of people off. Can throw a lot of people off. So if he plays queen there, I think he might be going... Oh, he's just going to do that and play queen check. Queen g7. Excuse me. Queen g7, rook g4. And I think he's going to take. And take. Just going to grab that pawn, and okay, all of a sudden we see he's better at the end of this calculation. Maybe just barely. Maybe just barely. Going to bring the king up to f4. Yeah, king e3, king f4. King f6, king f4, and white wants to play g4, h4, and g5. Now, of course, black is going to try to maybe get some counterplay, but white is going to get the g5 check move before black does any counterplay, and if you move the rook, you also lose the d-pawn. So, really, really tough position for black. I think he's going to play king e7 and probably play f6. I put the king on d6 and rook on e8. Maybe that's the way. I think he's going to do f6. Yep. And there could be a c4 move. Yep. Yep. c4 is the one. And you can't play... Well, you can play king there, but after takes, you certainly cannot take back. If black trades all the pieces here, I think this is a winning position for white. And I think you can play g5 if you want to here, because you have bishop c2 to cover the pawn, but Naka decides to support the pawn first, and I think he's going to go for g5 now. g5 takes, everybody takes. King e7, no, c5. So probably king g6, followed by just f6. I think black has probably already resigned himself as long as white has good play, a good technique. Ooh, he's going to get mated with king f7, guys. I think he might have missed that for a second there. I was going to say, I think he's already resigned himself to the fact that, excuse me, that he's going to give up his bishop for that f-pawn. I think that's clear. A lot of times in these situations, he's actually resigned. He's actually resigned. A lot of times in these situations, what you do is you become okay with giving up your bishop for a pawn and then saying, you know what, 3 plus the rook against the 2, I'm going to try to draw it. But he didn't even get a chance to do that here because, I mean, he just lost on time and position. Bishop f5 is a great move. If takes, I think, I could play f7, but I think just rook takes and f7, f8 is winning on the spot. Winning on the spot. So Naka... only giving up one draw this tournament. Let's take a look at that board 1 matchup between Andrew Tang as the white pieces against Artur Chicks, who is Artur Nieksans from Latvia. And which side would you rather be here? I think I'd maybe rather be white, honestly. Kind of tricky. Because the time's getting very low. White can always sack the rook for the pawn. And you're just going to push this pawn up the board. I think white might even be close to winning. Okay, maybe not close to winning, but definitely fine. I think you might have to play rook takes because of knight f4. So you're going to play rook a6. I think rook a6. Rook c6. Okay, he wants to bring the rook back here. I thought rook a6 there might have been a good one. I think rook a6 was probably missed. He's going to play b5, b6, but this is what I'm talking about. You get that rook over there, put that rook on over here. No, he's just going to sack it. Okay. And you have to get a position where the knight can sack for this pawn, but if you take with the king, you have to make sure your king can catch the h-pawn. So after takes, king f3, I think black is making the draw. King f3, king g4, yeah. Yeah. The screen is messed up? I don't think so. Top Madra? I don't think so. I haven't seen anyone else complaining. Maybe it was just for a second while I switched the games, but I don't think it was messed up for more than a couple seconds. Yep, this is a standard draw where the knight can park itself on b8, and there's no way that that you can take it. Knight b8, b7, and you guys got to get familiar with this. There's no way for the king to get the knight here. No matter which way you go, the knight goes the other way. Yep, so we'll see this one end up in a draw. And again, one of the last games of the round, pretty similar to the position we were actually just on. White is going for the win here, and I'm pretty sure he's got it. Yeah, oh, this is just a lot easier. A couple good conversions from Vlad Hamatovici here. And are there any more games left? There's 2 more games left. Let's check these end games. Is this one winning? I have a feeling that it's probably winning. Knight a2 or king c1. Nice move as well. I have a feeling that something like this should be winning, but maybe not. It's tricky because when you take the knight, white wants to put his king on a1. That's why he's giving up the knight with king c1. Very tricky. These guys agreed to a draw, or I guess they've been playing for a while. I'm sure he tried to threefold, or I'm sure he tried to convert that position for a while. Damn, that's some good defense. And if you play bishop g6 in this position, then what is white gonna do? For some reason he didn't play bishop g6 here. What does white do? Aha, knight e2, I think. Knight e2. And then if a2, knight c1, of course. So if king b2, knight back to c3, and then if bishop c2 to stop both of these moves, or I guess do we even need to do that? What about bishop here? This is kind of what I was wondering. Isn't this okay? He's getting the knight to that square. That's why. If bishop c2, there might even be knight a2. I think that's the nice move there. Knight a2, and then it comes back to c3, and if you take, of course, you just make the draw like that. So interesting endgames. Interesting endgames. Going into round 6 here, Nakamura's back on board 1. The updated standings, as I bring Naka's game up, I can let you know that Kiranki, Naka's opponent here with the white pieces, is the only guy in the tournament with 5 out of 5. The only guy. So he's the sole leader, and then we have a lot of people chasing with 4.5 points, and Naka is among them here. And he's coming with knight to f4, and already, I mean, he's using Wesley So's kind of idea there in the London system, knight h5. And, whoa, bishop to f1, interesting. He's going to play g3, bishop g2, I bet. Or I guess he could play bishop e2 as well. Bishop e2 and chase that knight further back. Yep, and he's going to castle. If castle, he's clearly planning knight f5. And I think black just wants to play f6 and e5 here. It looks good for black, honestly. This is, to a lot of people's preference lately, their way of handling the London system. I've used this myself in a tournament game. I actually drew the game, but got a massive opening advantage. It works really well. But Wesley So played this against Geary in the London Chess Classic. I think that was the first time that anyone saw this sort of idea. I think it was the first time anyone saw this idea, and it's been working very well for most players ever since. And here, Naka has given up a pawn on a7, a very, very greedy decision to play bishop takes pawn. Usually that's the type of thing that's going to get punished. Not only is b2 hanging, but you can see the way the pieces are lined up. The e4 combined with some type of sacrifice on g3 or f2 is going to happen. That is going to happen here. All right. And we have a National Master 1981 Stoneface in Terminal, and I've seen him in the chat quite a lot before. He's at 4.5 out of 5. C. Stefan from Romania, the candidate master we mentioned, 2195, also at 4 out of 5. So just mentioning some players who are really overperforming at the moment. And guys, is this even real? Look at this time. Naka actually has 3 minutes on his clock. That's incredible. 3 minutes on the clock. I mean, how do you even do that? That's so impressive. He's got 3 minutes and he's practically in a winning position as well. He's definitely just going to play e4 and crash through on all these important squares. Yep, he has 3 minutes. Oh, he's going down. Oh, c4 caught him by surprise a little bit. I think c4 is kind of a good move there. Of course, inviting that pawn to be taken. Okay, he's going to take and play knight d4. So he's going to play bishop d3 maybe? Yeah. Naka's got some sack ready here. I know it. I know it. What's he planning? Knight d4. So if queen d2, which looks logical. Oh, I'm looking at this and I'm just wondering, like, how possible is it to do this? Sack everything for this position and then have the idea to play rook there. I guess the queen comes back here. But I wouldn't be surprised if something like that is like very close to winning. Just looks like a fun line I was calculating. But no need to do that when you have a position like this, because you know you're going to play knight e2 anyway. So Naka decides just to take the pawn, calm down a little bit. He's going to play knight e2, and then he knows he's going to get the light squares. I think he missed that move, honestly. I think he missed bishop takes f8 here. Rook takes f2. If you take, it's easy to understand how you're going to get mated there or lose material, but I think he might have missed bishop f8, and now white has a fighting chance. You definitely think black has all the pressure with, you know, the checks on this diagonal and the pressure on the f-file, but it's actually nothing's by force. Queen e3, maybe? Queen e3 looks good. Yes, guys who are in the chat, Naka did just play like a 5-hour plus game against Giri, comes away with a win in the Norway Chess tournament, and then shows up here to play Untitled Tuesday, where he's looking to show up with another win. But just very, very impressive. c3, a6, d4. No, guys. This bishop is going to somehow get around to this diagonal, or the queen, and somebody's going to get in trouble here. If queen takes, we're going to see check. What was he going to play if queen takes and then check, I wonder. So if rook e7, king h6, there's so many mates here, and I mean he can just play d2 right now. d2 looks crushing. Yeah. I think this is resignable because queen g2 is there, and if queen takes d2, just take back. Otherwise, you're also threatening to take the rook. That is game over, guys. but I was wondering what happens if takes then just mate on g2. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So Naka, very convincing game. Holy smokes, he had 3 minutes for all the complicated parts of that game. He's tied for the lead. We have Andrew Tang, 5.5 out of 6. We have Robert Hess, 5.5 out of 6. Some good performances from these guys. I am also looking for some of the other games because there's a few players that we haven't looked at yet. I want to find, for example, Stoneface Internal did lose 4.5 out of 6. He did lose his game. Let's take a look at some of the lower rated players who are doing very well. We got a couple National Masters with 5 points. We got Georg Meyer here. He's playing FIDE Master Colombiano. And yes, no, he's just winning this position, I think. King e7 and then c6 looks crushing. Even king takes pawn is good enough, but I like king e7 and then moving the pawn up. King d7 and then c6. Yeah. No, this is an easy conversion for Georg. We got Igor Kovalenko from Latvia taking on John Daniel Bryant from the United States. And with all these pawns, 3 extra pawns for white, down a piece though, I think it's a very close position, and especially with a lot of tricks like knight takes h6. But ooh, maybe you can play knight takes h6 now, followed by queen g7 takes. Definitely an interesting position. If king e8, what's he gonna do? Knight e5? Yeah, you feel like you'd almost rather be white here. White is really putting the pressure on. He's gonna put his bishop there. Queen g6 or queen d3. Queen back to f7. Okay. No, black has a fortress here though. Everything's protected. Everything is protected. Queen e8. Okay, he's gonna let white play queen to b8 or queen to a8. I'm not sure that was the best thing to do. I think black is probably gonna end up losing this somehow. That's what I feel. Just because it's a very tough position to defend. White starts to bring the king up to g4. Queen b6. Queen a3, yeah. Okay, maybe bring the queen up. If you can play the move d5. Okay, he's going into the endgame. After takes and king e7. Oh, I don't like that move. I don't like that move. Now king f5. d5, knight d6, then king g6. Well, he's going to take, I think, and take. Knight to e3. And probably g4 and f5 himself, but black is the one who plays f5. And I think that white is probably winning this, but it's certainly a very interesting endgame. I don't think we get to see these ones too often. Just take. Knight takes d5. Probably just run the h-pawn now. I think that's good enough. King e7, h5, knight f6, h6. Just keep going. King g6, h7. I don't see how he stops it here. King g6, just h7. Yeah. No, this is over. That was pretty nice. The pawns were too much, and I'm not sure, but in Blitz, I would certainly rather play white there. It seemed like. Okay, so he comes away with that win. And there's only one more game left, which we'll just spectate right now, because these guys are the last ones going in this round. Again, for those just joining us, we are covering Title Tuesday right now. And we are moving in. This is a 10-round tournament. We're moving into round 7. And a lot of players still fighting for top spot. Looks like this position, Black has really made a bit of a meal of. What on earth is that move? Why didn't you just take the pawn? That's a huge mistake, I think, because, I mean, in this position, guys, King e2, if you take, Black can't take this without losing to rook check and queen, so you just take this pawn and then you make another pass pawn. That's an easy win. White has simplified into a position which is probably also winning. Yeah, you play e4, e5, e6. The black king is too far. Rook a7 should be played here. Yeah, once that pawn gets to e6, I don't think it's really a discussion. You can give the rook check on f8, king d6, e6, and hang on. I'm not so sure about playing this one first. Wait a minute. King e8. If check. Yeah, so he's going to play king g6 first. This is not necessarily easy. Okay, I think he's done a good job. Black's going to give the checks, but white's going to go back away from his pawn. So rook a7. King somewhere, d6, rook check. The thing is, if he plays king c5, there's rook e6, so he has to play king d5. We're back. He's going to give check again. He's really made a meal of this because I don't think it should have been this complicated. King e5 or king d5 is going to give another check, I think. Yep. And if he can ever bring the rook to the e file, that's going to be an immediate draw. Okay, excuse me. Not if the king can go there, but if the king goes further back, like that. King of 7. No, now we have a draw. Now we have a draw just by checks. But white really messed this one up because for sure the position a lot earlier was winning. I mean, way back here. Yeah, I would be pretty sure that this position is winning. Yeah, I feel like if you start with the pawn, not like it really matters, but if you start with the pawn and then bring the rook down there, I'm very surprised if this one is a draw. It's an interesting thing to know, though. They did make a draw in the actual game, but I'm not so sure about this position. I'm not so sure. For sure, you know, it was winning back here. This was a win, for sure. Just take the pawn and play f4. But it would be interesting to know what the evaluation of the other position was. Anyways, something to think about. We're on to the next round. Let's take a look and see who's playing near the top. Let's take a look at a guy we haven't seen yet. The tennis master. That is Quesada Perez Unieski. And he is a grandmaster from Cuba. I played him a few times, actually. Only once over the board, though. And he's playing Robert Hess here. And Robert's having a very good tournament so far. The standings right now, we have these two players right here, 5.5 out of 6. We have Nakamura and his opponent, 5.5 out of 6. And we have Andrew Tang, 5.5 out of 6. So a lot of people fighting for the top spot. And we have some national masters, a couple national masters guys at 5 out of 6. So people really want that prize. Let me just scroll down the list, and I'm waiting to see the first W. I'm waiting for the. There we go. The first WGM I see, because there is a top female prize. 3.5 out of 6 seems to be where you find the ladies in this tournament. So 3.5 out of 6. Currently leading the women is Kakas. She is performing the best so far, but there are still 3 rounds to go. So let's get back to this game. We have Quesada, Perez, Unieski with the white pieces. Bobby has playing black, and once again, we have this h6, g5 setup. This is the kind of thing where I think in Blitz it's a lot more effective than in slow chess, but you have the idea as white that, okay, black is clearly weakening some light squares by doing this, h6, g5, and the knight can come to e3, for example, and look at these squares as d4 in the future. I think that black tries to get away with this a little more because the pressure of the pin earlier on, I can back the game up a little bit. That's not usually something that black wants to deal with. Now, what I'm surprised at is the fact that black's bishop isn't on c5, because usually when you play h6 and g5, black's bishop is out here. And that's the reason you do this, because the pin is so strong. But here, black's bishop could unpin the knight. You could play g6, bishop g7, a bit more reserved. I'm not sure that this is entirely necessary, and I don't think it's as good with the bishop inside the pawn chain. Usually the bishop's on c5. I'm being told to look at Daniel Naroditsky's game. Not sure if that was an old comment or not. It's kind of similar to what we just looked at. And this is what I was saying. Usually you play h6, g5 before castling, but also while the bishop's outside of the pawn chain, not with the bishop on e7. So black is going for the attack here, which is respectable, and white's trying to hold the position steady. Ooh, you almost want to get like some queen takes h4 brilliancy in there. Almost works, but not quite. Not quite. Knight takes h2, king takes h2. White starts to look a little bit better. Also, this rook is super awkward, so I don't really like Naroditsky's position there. Nakamura taking on BS86. Not sure if this guy has a public profile. Oh, Boris Savchenko. Boris Savchenko. He's kind of a name that comes up. At least I see his name coming up a lot more when we're talking about Blitz. Him and Nakamura, if I recall, have a pretty competitive Blitz match. Actually, one of many on YouTube at the World Blitz tournaments. But Boris Savchenko is a grandmaster from Russia, and you don't hear about him too much because if you're 2650 in Russia, you are, barely qualifying to have a few fans. There are so many strong players in Russia that 2650s just get casually overlooked. Knight e4, maybe looking at knight f6, but okay, you also have rook f6 and that pawn is hanging. But white has a very crushing position here. Not only is he up a pawn, but he has a lot of positional ideas. Like he can just play knight c5 and trade the bishops and be better in the endgame. Or he can go extremely offensive, and that's what he's done, of course. We're talking about Hikaru Nakamura here. He's played queen c2. He's looking at the g6 pawn. And, I mean, he does it with such style, guys. Naka here, he's got like 2 minutes on the clock. To 20 seconds from his opponent. Pretty impressive. Salta Pinar, definitely making a case for something to announce there that Alexandra Kosteniuk is participating. She wants that top prize. And we have Tatev, Sabina Feuser, the U.S. Women's Champion. There are a lot of top females entering this tournament because there's an important prize at stake. But if I keep talking, I'm probably going to miss the checkmate. There we go. I kept talking and I missed it. Knight f5 is game over. Let's see the finish. Queen c2, queen f7, knight h5. Bishop f5, knight takes g7. And if you take here, it's not a sneaky discovery that I think Naka was planning. He's just going to grab the queen. So that's all she wrote. Let's take a look at the current board one matchup, which is probably going to go, I was going to say, Probably going to go in favor of white when I just took a look at these pawns. But now that this move has happened, it's very easy to understand why black could be optimistic about potentially holding a draw. White has 4 against 1 on the queen side, or on the king side. That's why I'm really doubtful here. You're going to bring the king up. I'm not sure I like this move. What is f6? No, what is f6? It's an awful move, right? f6 is terrible. Why not king g3? And play g3, king up, g5, get those pawns going. Oh, no. That was a huge mistake, I think. Somehow he made it work, because I think black really has some time issues here, but when the pawns start rolling to g5 and g6, that's game over. And now there's mate on the board. Yeah, there's not enough time to keep up with that position, simply. Yeah, no, he's got four pawns against 1 on the king side. Might be time to let this one go. g6, no, rook h3, and he's going to play h6 and queen the pawn. Easy enough. That'll be it for that game. Pretty nice conversion there by white, but a little bit sloppy. I felt like he gave his opponent just one move there to get back into the game. Looks like we're joining the position right as Andrew Tang is completely winning against Kiranki. It looks like this was a London system, and it was. I just said that because in the final position I saw these pawns and this structure. Anybody that comes from a London system. But Andrew Tang having an extremely good tournament, guys. Let me update you on the standings. We just saw Nakamura win very easily, 6.5 out of 7. Andrew Tang, 6.5 out of 7. And Quesada Perez, we just saw beat Robert Hess. He's also moving to 6.5 out of 7. Akshat Chandra, 6 out of 7. But there's still a lot more games in this round. Okay, queen against knight, we don't need to spend some time on. Let's take a look at Wonderful Time. Looks like he sacked in order to get 2 pawns and the bishop against these 2 clumsy knights. Is black going to sacrifice back? Maybe knight c4 here? No, knight c4, just b7. That's the problem. It's b7 that's the issue, not c7. King d6. What is he going to do here? If this, but then king c7? He wants king c7, and then knight check, and then king a8. Wow. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. It's funny, you almost have the hallucination that in this position, black can, I don't know, create some weird perpetual or something, but no. The king can run away, thankfully, without losing the queen. Wonderful Time moves up in the tournament, and our good buddy Spinal Tap Chess here. He's sitting at 3.5, 3 and change, and he's looking to, well, I would say he's looking to hold on to this position. That's probably fair to say, but it's definitely a draw. Definitely a draw. You can just leave that bishop anywhere and leave this king on f8, and I think the guys will agree to a draw here pretty soon. It's only one Title Tuesday in June, for those wondering. It is once per month, first Tuesday of every month, so we'll be back the first Tuesday in July. But this is a very special one because we have some Isle of Man special prizes and plane tickets on the line for the top male and top female. And hopefully I'll be able to properly update you on who's the contender for those prizes. Well, here is one. I don't think she's going to be close to tied for the lead, but she's playing rook and knight against rook here. WFM Shivagami from India. This one is a lot harder to win than rook against rook and bishop against rook. First of all, a lot harder to win. You almost never see this one getting converted. But there was that famous incident, for those who remember it, at the World Blitz, where I'm forgetting who it was, but one of the players had the knight, and the other guy was claiming a 50 move rule. And then what they did was they checked with the arbiters. They found out that it was like 48 moves. And, well, they came back and both players started giggling because, well, the guy gets a time penalty, his opponent gets more time, but it's irrelevant. The guy just has to make 2 more moves without losing. But the reason that he claimed 50 moves is because he was in a position where he was getting mated in 3 moves. That's why he panicked. He said, I claim 50 moves. And because of that, the players started laughing because they both saw it was made in 3. And then the guy was like, well, thank goodness it's made in 3, but I can claim it in 2 moves. But the poor guy, what he did was, instead of making 2 moves and then pausing the clock, calling the arbiter and claiming it, he makes his second move and then he hits the clock. And then his opponent makes the checkmate move on the board, and then checkmate trumps any draw claim or anything you want to pretend to claim in the position. So the guy ended up losing the game, even though he had a forced, 50 move draw on the board. But it was one of the funniest incidents because both players probably thought the other person was going to get the result they wanted, and in the end, the guy with the rook and knight won. It was pretty bizarre. Pretty bizarre. I forget who the players were. Yes, Ahmed Adli against Diego Flores, and that there was a lot of controversy around that. I think it was ridiculous. What? Huh? Thinking emoji. Thinking emoji. Okay. Well, we definitely have to find out who this guy's name is. Vignir Stephenson. Vignir Vatnar Stephenson from Iceland. You have been immortalized on the Chess.com stream as losing a rook and knight against rook. You have been immortalized, guys. I don't think we can turn away from this game, though. Andrew Tang against Hikaru Nakamura. An internet legend facing off against Naka. Definitely one to watch. Definitely one to watch. So let's see how it started again. Queen's Indian, sort of. No e6, kind of a weird delayed Queen's Indian, but it goes back into normal stuff. Why am I hitting the keyboard like that? Because the guy just mated himself. I have to hit the keyboard like that. That's ridiculous, losing rook and knight against rook. Alright, bishop e7. He's tanking here. Look at Naka, well over 3 minutes, just enjoying himself. That's the thing, when you're a strong player, your opponents use a lot of time to think, but then what you do is you end up thinking on their time. So you never end up using time of your own. It's kind of how it ends up working. You feel like, oh man, this guy's so strong, he plays so fast. Well, number one, you're playing slow. Number two, he's using your time to actually think of his moves, which is why he's able to play them so fast. I have trouble with this line over the board, but I think it's a good blitz line. One thing that's annoying is at some point white plays the move e5, and this knight has nowhere to go because it can't go to c5 or f6. And if you bring it to f8 and g6, well, it just doesn't have a future there. But you give up the d5 square to do that, so it's always a tough choice. This is a theoretical line without a3, more or less. Yeah, more or less. But you can get a lot of these lines from the Nimzo or something. I'm sure we're in some very chartered territory. I'm not sure if you can actually say that. People always say uncharted territory. I'm not sure if you can say charted territory, but that's what we're in right now. There's 10 rounds. Right now we are in round 8. Only 2 more rounds. Only 2 more rounds after this. Okay, let's just touch on that move c4 by Naka. Very important to play e5, d5, and not let white play the move c4. If you let that happen, it's more of a strategically lost game. So he plays c4 himself, and we see Andrew Tang rerouting the bishop. He doesn't want to leave it on b2 where it does nothing anymore. Naka is looking to be solid on the d6 square and the e5 pawn, but white should probably play a move like knight h4 and really try to get some things going on the king side. I think we're going to see the knight come, or actually maybe, is he thinking about bishop c5 here? Yes, yes. If knight takes, bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes c3, maybe bishop d3, and knight d6 is maybe that's a reasonable calculation for both players to get to. I think that's quite likely, but we see Naka wants to trade that bishop before playing knight d6. I definitely like that move there. Hey, Coach Ferman. Hello, hello. Look at that, time advantage. It's 2 minutes, basically. It's 2 minutes extra, and he is going to go for it. Oh, he doesn't take, excuse me, I didn't even consider this move for some reason. Bishop a6. Bishop there, and of course he's going to do that because he's going to take and then take on e3. Yep. So if he takes here, I don't think there's any d6, but Naka might have been worried about that. He plays knight d6. He's going to take on e3. Guys, this is filthy what Naka's doing. This is filthy. This is just winning. Oh. The way he played that was so nice. So nice. He did it to the point where he actually even just won the position regularly, but even on bishop e3, even if white can play this move without losing a piece, completely losing position, just strategically. But Naka even just does it to win material. That's a very nice game. He plays bishop c5 and bishop a6, and the tactics just flow very, very nicely. Yeah, with low time here, we're going to see Penguin probably speed up a little bit because now Naka's planning queen f4 and knight e4. It's easy to speed up when you're in a losing position because you've got nothing more to lose, but no, this looks over. Queen f4 followed by queen to g3, and that's just mate in 2. Queen g3, queen g1, or king h1, queen h3. So very nice game, very easy game from Nakamura there. 2 rounds to go, and he's leading the tournament with 7.5 out of 8. Let's take a look at some of the people who can catch him. 6.5 points here for the black player. Tennis Master. And bishop e2 just played. And that's not a queen trap, but that's a lot of material hanging. We have black hanging on by a thread here. What is he going to play? Queen h4, so if you take this, you're threatening checkmate. If you take that back, then, I mean, there's pieces hanging everywhere. But you do have to take this bishop back. Bishop takes e5. He's probably going to take on h6, but then maybe rook takes on d4 as well, followed by queen d1 takes d4. I think it's just over. I think it's just over, guys. He's probably just considering a lot of these tricks with g6 and gh6 and stuff like that. But I think rook takes d4. He does play it. That's a nice move. Queen g5, you have king h7. And rook takes d4, there's queen g1. Rook takes d4, there's queen g1, yeah. But I think this is going to be the end of the game. Just a couple seconds left. No more spite checks. Okay, the rook moves. Oh, fancy. Queen takes b2. Nice. Nice game. So, Chandra loses, which means that moving into a tie for first is Quesada Perez Unieski, a grandmaster from Cuba. and he actually has the better tie breaks for what that's worth. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they decide the special prizes based on tie breaks or if there's a playoff for those. But I imagine that it would be by tie breaks. Let's take a look at the other games. We have a few people playing, but they're not totally in contention for top spot. Daniel Naroditsky, we haven't checked his games too much. H5, yeah, I think that rook was actually trapped. That's what white was playing for. And after takes, you can't take that because of knight f6. I think that's the idea. But you can take that and then play king e3. And how do you defend that pawn? Isn't that just over? Ah, he's looking at something better, perhaps. I'm not sure if that is better, but rook f6. I mean, king takes f3 looked fairly convincing there. Fairly convincing. Okay, he's also got a very nice position here because he's got a mate in 2 with rook h7, rook h8. Rook a3. Oh, excuse me, I didn't even see rook f8. Of course, I was sitting here going like, yeah, we got rook h7, rook h8, and then the exact same idea, but of course rook f8. Much simpler, much simpler. There we go. Nice game, nice game. Let's see. Potentially the one of the top contenders, at least, for the female prize. Everybody's favorite. Doesn't look like a good position though. Yeah, white is just losing here. White is just losing here. Unfortunately, down on time and position. I don't see any more. Okay, this game is still some people fighting for some of those top spots. 5.5 points. 5.5 points, and you've got a hanging knight on e6, but there's also knight takes e2 check, so that's a great move, allowing for the rook to come back to f2. Nice job. Robert Hess puts this one away. Okay, just save the knight, and this one is over. Yep. Oh, I don't know about that one. You could just take the knight. That looked like maybe a pre-move he didn't have to play, but turns out it's a pretty good one because he can deliver a forced mate here, I'm pretty sure. There, knight check, and checkmate. Yep. Nice job. And one of the last games of the round, white is going for a draw here, it looks like, and I think he's going to get it. He does get it, yeah. That is a draw. Max Illingsworth, not Illingsworth, but Illingworth does get the draw here. Okay, we're coming into the last couple games. Oh, we got our friend Viggy from Iceland. Let's see if he doesn't know another endgame. He's white here. I guess he's the only one that can really lose this position, but okay, should easily be a draw. Be very surprised to see otherwise. Yep. Takes, and nice draw there. Okay. So we're moving into the last round. This is the last game here, still going. How do these guys have so much time on their clock? These guys have been playing for a while. White's got to be careful to lose this. This is the type of position where you're going to get your king forked, or I don't know. You're going to blunder as white here, not as black. That's for sure. There's no way you win this position with white. No way. I'm waiting for white to actually blunder this position. These guys are just playing on. Of course, this should just be a draw, but since neither one wants to accept or offer one, I have a feeling that white is going to lose, not black. If the result is not a draw, that is. Should be a draw. Top Madra, that's the plan. That's the plan. All right. These guys are playing way on. I'm sure they've hit 50. They're just playing on the play on, it looks like. Somebody end this. I'm going to look through the list here. It's a two-way tie for first with some chasers for sure, but I'm just looking down. We got a 6 out of 8 candidate master. We got a 6 out of 8 national master. Some people doing really, really well. Trying to scroll down and see who the top female is at the moment. It looks like 4.5 out of 8. It looks like 4.5 out of 8. 4.5 out of 8 for Kosteniuk. 4.5 out of 8 for Saraswati from India. Yeah, there's a lot of WGMs, WFMs, GMs. Yeah, 4.5 out of 8 seems to be the big score for the ladies right now. And finally, that was agreed to a draw. We might see Naka just agree to a draw really fast here. I wouldn't be surprised by that. So here's the board 1 matchup. I'm also going to look for the other important matchups here. See if I can get those up. Because this is definitely the most important match for first place. These guys are tied for first right now. 7.5 points out of 8, which is a crazy score. We're in round 9 right now. There's only 2 rounds left. It is a 10-round tournament. There we go. Okay, so here Nakamura is... these guys are actually playing a bit of a theoretical line at the moment. But you always like to play white in these positions just because you get an easy positional game with things like g4 coming soon, maybe e4 as well. He has declared his intention to play e4. If you play f5 here, I think g4 is also a move. g4 is a good move, I think. Not only do you have queen g6, but e4. Takes in e4 is a very strong move. So is takes in queen g6, by the way. But either way, I think this followed by g4 is very good for white. Oh, I'm surprised. Queen g6, there's no knight f7, I think, because you take, and there's no queen f7 because you take. And I also thought that e4 here was kind of a good move. But Naka's just gone for knight to h2. I thought there were some other options there, but either way, he's definitely found that g4 is a strong move. Yeah, he's going to take that pawn based on the queen g6 tactic. And he's going to play probably like f3 and e4, these kind of moves. Yeah, he's going to castle long. He's going to move the king to b1. He's going to look to play e4, but black can play h5. Black got out of that opening in a pretty reasonable shape, I would say. Very reasonable shape. If we compare this game to the other ones, we have to remember that Naka's only up maybe 1 minute here. That is a huge difference. Usually he's up like 2 minutes by now. So although it's not impressive, it's better than the other guys. It is better than the other guys. Takes. The knight wants to go to f4 or c5, followed by queen b3. But the knight on d6 is fantastic in this opening. It's one of the highlight pieces. Black's got an outside pass pawn, and these pawns are a little tender at the moment. I think we might see knight c5, knight d1. Knight d1. It's a move with strikes me as a little more passive than I would have expected. Naka is really building that time edge, though. He's up like a clean minute and, well, he's thinking now, but he was up like a minute and a half. Knight c5, queen f7. I think the knight always can return to d6. I think black is very clearly better here. It doesn't mean that Naka can't flip it around, but e4 always hangs the d-pawn. Yeah, so he's got to play for this one. Maybe put the knight there, but this outside h-pawn gives black a big edge for sure. A big edge. Will we see knight d3 and knight e5? We will. Knight d3, bishop d6. Knight e5, I think he's going to take it, and he wants to play knight there and knight there. Maybe rook g8. Or knight g3. Queen f5. Knight e5. Takes. Oh no, you're going to take that first. I was playing guess the move for a little bit there. I was doing well. I was on a bit of a streak. But I don't think he even wants to take this queen. He can start with a rook move of some sort. Or knight e4. Maybe a knight e4 is what he wants to play. He takes it. Rook g8. Naka is resourceful though. Naka is resourceful here. These guys are going for top spot. And I can definitely see this ending up petering out to a draw. But Naka is making a push here. He's turning around and the time is starting to matter. Time is starting to matter. Somehow Naka's king got from b1 all the way to e4 in a couple of moves. And black's holding on to this position just barely. Ooh, I like what he's doing. Knight h3, knight g5 is coming. Now the rooks are finally freed of taking care of this h-pawn. These two connected pawns are going to be dangerous. This really flipped around. Rook g3. Maybe knight h3. Knight h3 to g5. Or take. I guess take. And if takes, he wants to bring the knight. Put the rook there, maybe trade the knights. Even the rook endgames are winning for white, I think. Knight f6 is a huge threat. Yep. Oh, this is... Oh, guys, 2-minute advantage. This is round 9 right now. This is a 10-round tournament. Rook g1, g2, knight e3, then rook back is probably something that he's hoping for. So knight f6, rook h8. Are we going to see rook d7, rook g7? Probably not. Now that he's played rook h6, then he can go rook g6, although that actually works as well. But f5 might just be the simplest. Don't give him the g6 square. Now we can think of doing that rook maneuver, or he can just go to g1. King f4, king g5. Well, maybe move this knight. I think we want to get that knight out of the way. Black barely has enough time to make these moves. Knight e4 and something like knight g5, e6. Yeah, somehow like this is protecting this is protecting this. Everything in black's position is hanging on by a thread, and Naka's just shoveling these connected pawns up the board. Pretty nice, we have to say. Great technique. That's it. Naka is clearly in the lead now. There's a chaser, 8 points out of 9, Yuri solo. There's only 1 round left, but he's got 8 out of 9. That's going to be the final round pairing by force, I think. I don't think there's anyone else who can make it to 8 points out of 9, and no, there isn't. A few people can make it 7.5, but Yuri Solo and Hikaru Nakamura are going to be battling it out in the last round for all the marbles. We got a guy with the username WeiYi1999, and he's down 5 pawns against Kukas. So, not too sure about the username there, bud. Not too sure about that one. Yeah, you got a rook hanging there. I was looking at this game because I think this is one of the top contenders for the women's prize in the tournament. Whoa, going for a journey there. Going for a journey with the king. Oh, she's getting nervous. Man, she's up 5 pawns. This could be the women's prize right here. King g6, h2, I guess, and then rook g2 is the idea. Yeah, rook g2. So blundering the queen, definitely not a good start. I guess, do you sit that queen on h1? Check, check. I'm not even sure if this is winning anymore. It's probably just a draw. Yeah, queen here, and then you can give the checks like that. Yeah, I think this is a draw, guys. I think this is a draw. There are a couple results that matter. It is for the women's prize and for the podium finish in the tournament, of course, and also the top male, which is likely just going to be the guy who finishes first in the tournament. Probably going to be Hikaru Nakamura. Also gets an all expenses paid trip to Isle of Man. Who would have thunk it? Hikaru Nakamura wins an all expenses paid trip to the Isle of Man. I think he's going to be really happy with that prize, because normally he would be paying all his expenses as one of the top players in the entire world. So he's going to be thrilled with that. Now he can finally attend the Isle of Man. That's going to be a great boost for the tournament. And we have Andrew Tang battling it out here. Let me get that other game off your screen. Ooh, looks like it's losing for black on first glance. Yeah, those pawns are too strong. a7 and b6 are going to come. Yep. The only hope, maybe, is to get rid of these 2 pawns and try to make your opponent do the bishop and knight checkmate. It almost feels like, you know, we haven't seen the bishop and knight checkmate in Title Tuesday this time. You almost got to make him do it. You got to make somebody do it. But no, it looks like I think he's just going to lose. He has 2 seconds. He made that move with 0 seconds on his clock. Only he could do that. Only he could do that. He's going to resign, though. That's just over, unfortunately, for him. And one of the last games of the round. 2 queens against 2 rooks. Chess, big master. Just queen takes rook. It's going to be lights out. There we go. And chess, big master comes away with it. Yeah, push that pawn. Yeah, f2. And that should be it. 2 more queens. Look at that. That's 3 queens in a single game, at least. And I haven't seen earlier than this. Maybe there was even more. Okay, he came away with the win. We are going into the last round, the final round, the 10th round of the tournament. Title Tuesday, 3-2 Blitz, and it is going to be Hikaru Nakamura against Yuri Solo. I have to check who this guy is. Yuri Solodovnishenko. They might agree to a draw, but the other thing is that Yuri might just play for a win, because a draw pretty much gets him the same type of prize as losing. If he wins, he wins the tournament outright. He wins the Isle of Man sponsored spot. I mean, he can win everything with a win here against Nakamura, or of course they could just agree to a draw and go home a little bit happy, each of them. But I think he's gonna go for it, which is good. Nakamura has 8.5 out of 9. Crazy performance so far. 8 out of 9 for Yuri Solo. 7.5 for Robert Hess, having a good event, and Quesada Perez, who just lost to Naka. That was his tough game. We have a candidate master, C. Stefan from Romania. He's got 7 out of 9. That is crazy. 7 out of 9. That's higher than a lot of people in this tournament. I'm going down looking for the top female at the moment. And 5.5 out of 9. Budu 44. I wonder actually who is that. Ah, Sabina Feuser. There we go, guys. Sabina Feuser, U.S. chess champion, current U.S. chess women's champion. That's very impressive. I didn't realize that that was her username, but there you go. WGM Sabina Feuser is the current leader for the women's prize, and wouldn't that be nice to see her at the Isle of Man tournament taking down this this prize. She's tied right now with Alexandra Kosteniuk, chess queen, with 5.5 points, and they both rely on each other's results to see who's going to take down the prize. So I'll check that after the tournament. Make sure we see. But is that a draw, by the way? Yeah, that is a draw. I was wondering why they weren't moving there. So there you go, guys. That was a draw. I predicted that was kind of a likely result. Let's actually take a look at Sabina's game. There you go. She's playing with the white pieces here. 5.5 points. And now that we know this is the position, I'm just going to quickly check the game of Alexandra Kosteniuk playing with the black pieces here. She's up a pawn temporarily. Yeah, she's up a pawn temporarily. This looks really good, actually. I like her position a lot. Those two ladies are going head-to-head for who's going to win the top female prize, I think. So Alexandra Kosteniuk looking good. I'll keep you guys updated on that. But let's take a look at Sabina's game. As it looks like, based on Alexandra's game, she has to win. She has to win. And yes, Naka did make a draw, so he comes away with a tournament victory. I think there are some people who can catch him, or maybe not. No, that was the only guy. No, Naka just won the tournament outright. Naka is your winner. Yuri Solo might tie with some other people for second place, like Bobby Hess or tennis master Quesada Perez Yunieski from Cuba, but I think he has the better tie breaks, so it's looking likely that Hikaru number 1, Yuri Solo number 2, yet to determine who's going to come in third. But this game is for the female prize. This is 94, looking at the G3 pawn, looking at the F2 pawn. I like black's position here, but white has to hold strong because if we look at who she's fighting against, let's check Alexandra Kosteniuk's position. Looking good. Up a pawn, nothing defined yet. White is ahead on time and has sort of the initiative, and this knight on b6 is bad, but a pawn is a pawn, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure, guys. What do you think? Who is going to win? Is it going to be Sabina Feuser or Alexandra Kosteniuk? I guess it's possible that they both lose and someone else at half a point less wins their game. I'm not ruling that out, but it's looking very likely that one of these ladies is going to take home the top female prize for this tournament. A huge think by white here. He's not really sure what to do. I think it's because knight g3, maybe g5 was annoying. And the queen on h4 doesn't have many squares. So he's gone queen g3 instead. Queen g3. Will we see queen c7 here? Queen c7 and rook c8 or rook to d8 is something I really want to do, but I think she's going for queen to f5 here, followed by rook d8. That's what it looks like. Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be. This is a massive pawn majority here. 5 against 3. So black is up a pawn, and this structure right there in particular, holding all those pawns together, unless white breaks it with f4, almost every endgame is also winning for black. So looking good for Kosteniuk. I'm going to keep you guys on your toes, jumping back and forth here. But unfortunately, no, I think this one's over, guys. I think this is just a forced win. Yeah, I think rook to h2 is a forced mate. Takes, queen f4. King h1, f2. Yeah, or king g1, queen g3, and then f2. I think that was a forced mate there. But okay. Found another one, pretty much the same idea with f2 and queen f4 mate. That's it, guys. It is all up to the chess queen. If she wins, she is hopefully, I guess, going to accept her prize and show up to the Isle of Man, which would be very cool. But knight d7, she's consolidating. She's up a pawn here, as I've mentioned. And the knight on h4 is looking a little sloppy. After queen b7, what's being played? Rook d8, I guess. Are you giving up the a-pawn? Or are you using this rook and then tying everyone down to defense? The annoying thing is that f4 is also in the position. Not at the moment because I think that knight is hanging. But even f4 takes take on e5 followed by taking on f6 and rook e7 is something to think about. I think that knight f3 is the correct move, or maybe g3 intending f4. But f4 takes and takes is at least very tricky. It doesn't work though, as far as I can see. Take on f6, knight takes f6, and king hides on h6. So 12 seconds. Yeah, white does bring the knight back to f3. What will we see here? Maybe move this rook and get ready to bring the knight to e4. White should just play a little bit faster. Oh, f4. I think he's going to be happy to play f4 here. f4 looks very good. I don't really like the move queen e6, but maybe maybe there's another plan after f4. Because I guess f4 takes, knight takes is not threatening that much actually. I think the queen wants to come back. No. Probably rook back to a8 and take there. Queen c7. g5. Knight f3. Rook c8. Queen b7, of course. And the queen is coming back here. Is black going to play queen c6? Great move. Great move. That's a very strong move. 13 seconds on the clock. Kosteniuk looks like she's going to pull this one off because the pawn on a2 is under heavy fire. And the knight can maneuver to d4. And like we've been talking about, this pawn mass, 5 against 3 over here, is going to be decisive. White can't get the pawns moving at all on the queen side. So this could be very big for the standings. Very big for the standings. Right now we have Kukis, WGM, Saraswati, WFM leading with 5.5 points, but the chess queen also has 5.5 points, and her game is still going. Her game is still going. So she can win the women's section, as far as I can see, right here. She can win the women's section right here. Unless I'm missing someone, but I don't think so. Naka has already locked in the tournament. It looks like third place is going to be Sergio Chess. He's the only guy that ended up on 8.5 points, but Bobby has is still playing, and so is Tennis Master, so it's not confirmed yet. Sergio Chess in third place right now, but that is not confirmed. Knight goes to b5. And what is black going to do here? b4. I don't like that move at all. I don't like that move at all. Knight c6, yeah. Now rook takes a4. Ooh, that's a huge blunder by white. I think, oh, that b4 move was just awful. Ooh, tricky. Probably just move the, move the rook. Yeah. Rook c4. Rook a8, rook a2, rook b5 wins for black. Rook d6, knight d4. Very, very close. Yeah, you're going to take there, and now, is black even winning this? I mean, sorry, is black even drawing this is what I mean. She may have messed this one up. Rook, ooh, whoa, I don't like that move. I don't like that move. No, that's not correct. That can't be correct. That can't be correct. Oh, king d6. Rook c7, or sorry, rook a7 takes c7, but white is the one actually pushing to win here. King e3. If you trade everything there, king d3, king c6, king c4 wins. King e3. Oh, I should have played king e3 first. Takes a6. Yep. So probably take, and then swing the rook over there. We're actually watching one of the last games of the round, guys. What can you say? This is simply one of the longest games. King d4, rook takes g5. I'm not sure this was the proper move. Rook takes g7 might have been more correct. Rook h7. Maybe king e2. Okay, if king e6, f4 is the intention. King e3. King e6, now rook a6. Okay, but now the king goes there. Rook g4 should be played. And then the rook has to go back to h8. I don't like that move. No, I don't like that move at all. Or this move. No, that's not correct. The king gets to f5. Well, you can put the king back and try to bring the rook back to g4, but it looks like even if she holds a draw here, by the way, I think she's still taking the prize, but I'm not sure. Why doesn't she have a WGM title? She holds the Grandmaster title, which is higher than the WGM title. So, as is very logical, she has chosen to use that one. And yes, she's going to make a draw here. Very impressive. I mean, I don't think it's very impressive because I think she could have won it, but it is impressive that she did manage to stay calm and hold the draw. Now, if she doesn't draw this, she'll be very disappointed in herself. This is just textbook stuff, guys. Rook f1 check, and just some checks like that will be over. Yep. Rook to a1 or something, rook c1. And I think we're going to see a draw here, which means that the chess queen, Alexandra Kosteniuk, will, king f5, will take the women's prize. Both players have offered a draw, and both players have declined a draw. Very weird. I think they're just going to repeat. There we go. And that is the last game of the round. So the tournament's over, guys. The tournament's over. We had first place Hikaru Nakamura, second place Yuri Solodovnichenko, and third place Quesada Perez Unieski from Cuba, who did jump to 8.5 points and knocked a few people back in the standings with a nice clutch last round victory. So Naka, I think he was playing Bobby Hess as well, who's in the chat asking how on earth he lost it. So there you go. I'm pretty sure that was the matchup, but I can't remember, to be honest. We were busy watching the chess queen take down the women's prize and earn herself a trip to the Isle of Man. And I'm pretty sure, I'm just double checking this list going down, but with 6 points out of 10, the chess queen, I believe, has the most points of any female in the tournament. So that should do it. We had a pretty intense show today. We had a canceled tournament. We had some donation message trolling. We had just a long show in general. Been live for about more than 3 hours, 3 hours 15 minutes or something. So I hope you guys enjoyed all the shenanigans, however they were, as well as a bit of serious chess at the end. Nakamura, coming off his Norway Chess win, also just shows up, takes care of business, 9 out of 10, and really just cleans up the title Tuesday. There's going to be another one next month, as usual, first Tuesday of every month. And for those who want to follow me, my Twitter is on the screen at Amon Hambleton. And obviously I stream on the Chess Pro channel, so if you want to see more of me playing chess, commentating, telling bad jokes like I was practicing today, then come check out our channel as well. But that's it for the Title Tuesday right now. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And until next time, I hope everyone has a good day. Bye for now.